Speaking of awesome, we welcome in sports writer for The Athletic in New Orleans, Jeff Duncan, who joins us to talk about all things Saints. We may even hit a little LSU. But first, Jeff, I have to ask you a question, man. I was a little disappointed because you've been away. You were doing a big expose, and we understand that, doing some investigative reporting. But then when you hit us all on the group chat about the story's coming out and you'll be available again, and I drop a couple of Dynamite Fletch references and you didn't seem to get it. I was very disappointed, Jeff. I'm not going to lie. It kind of hurt me.
You're right. I was totally went over my head, and I love Fletch. I just didn't put two and two together. That shows you how much my brain has turned to mush after doing all the investigative work.
By the way,
I should have picked up on that.
I know it has to do with stuff down in New Orleans, but kind of give us the sort of wide brushstrokes of exactly what you were working on.
Well, it's kind of a sad story, to be honest with you. It was a story of people in New Orleans certainly remember post-Katrina. There was a lot of things going on in the market, and at the time, about 3 or 4 years after Katrina, there was basically a grassroots fundraising campaign started to build a football stadium at Carver High School in New Orleans, kind of a famous inner city school here. Marshall Faulk's a product of Carver High School, and it caught fire, became almost like a national story after Katrina. Sean Payton gave money to the project, Drew Brees, Barack Obama at his 5-year anniversary of Katrina's speech mentioned the stadium project. Anderson Cooper came to New Orleans for his 5-year anniversary cover, based his entire coverage of his set was based at the site of the Field of Dreams project. So it was this wasn't just a high school football stadium being built. I mean, this was kind of a symbol of the recovery of New Orleans. And unfortunately, it never materialized. Over $1 million in funds that were raised, donations from people all over the world, have been squandered. There's no money left in the coffers, and no stadium's been built. There's a lot of speculation as to what happened. Was it malfeasance? Was it negligence, incompetence, all of the above? But it's just kind of a heartbreaking story, because what got lost in all this, Patrick, was the kids at Carver High School who had a chance to get, a brand new stadium on their campus. And I think it could have been really a source of momentum, an economic generator for the community. It never got realized. And that was the idea to begin with. And unfortunately, New Orleans politics got involved. And there's a lot of stories like that, sad stories in New Orleans. And this is one of the latest ones.
Was that the school that they did a movie or a documentary about?
No, that was actually another story in the city. I mean, there was lots of coverage about the Field of Dreams project. ESPN did a half-hour show on it, and it was a big deal. It was a national deal, but it was so long ago that I think a lot of people have forgotten about it. A lot of people, frankly, until they read our story, thought the stadium actually got built and that they were playing games down there the whole time. And I mean, Patrick, I went in 2013 to a groundbreaking ceremony/press conference. Tom and Gail Benson were there. I mean, every news outlet in the city was there. It was a big deal. All the city officials, city councilmen. I mean, it was well documented, well covered, and then nothing happened after that. It just never materialized, and unfortunately, the money's all gone now. I mean, $1 million is nothing to sneeze at. They could have built this stadium if everybody would have been on the same page and marching in the same direction. And unfortunately, it got splintered, and a dream never got realized.
Man, that is a tough one, no doubt about it. Jeff Duncan from The Athletic joins us. Well, let's talk about something a little happier, and that's the New Orleans Saints, who amazingly are sitting there at 4-1. Bridgewater's 2-0. I think everybody I've heard, Jeff, and maybe it'll come to fruition. Maybe the Saints will lose 3 in a row, but not likely to happen. Everyone kind of said when Drew went down, hey, 4-4 and get to the bye week, and you'll feel a little better about yourselves, and we can recover after that. Did anyone see this coming? What the Saints team have done the last 2 weeks?
Well, I don't want to say I saw it coming, because I didn't.
Feel free to, Jeff. Please do.
Well, I did not think it was going to be the doom and gloom that a lot of people felt. This team has been built over the last few years to absorb the loss of Drew Brees. We saw a little bit of it last year that Drew Brees didn't have to carry this team. This is not the same team that we saw in 2011, say, the offensive juggernaut that struggled on defense. They're much better on defense now. They're much better on special teams. And they've got a good running game. They've got a very good offensive line. So they can win games in a lot of ways. We saw that a year ago. And I also knew that Sean Payton and this coaching staff, which is very good, I think it's gotten overlooked in a lot of places, this coaching staff's intact for the third straight year. That's very unusual in the NFL. And I knew that Sean Payton would see this as a challenge. And in some ways, it's almost been a blessing in disguise for the team. I think it gave them a rally cry. And I think everyone involved realized that, crisis management was at hand, and everybody had raised their game. And it's been exactly what the team needed. They entered this year without a lot of motivational gimmicks. There wasn't like a motto this year like they've always had in the past. Very business-like approach, and I think this became their rallying cry, and I think it came at the right time, and it hasn't surprised me at all. And it's worked out well in a lot of ways, too. They're catching teams at the right time, I think. That's a big thing in the NFL. It seems like they have the intangible edge in each of these games so far.
By the way, I misspoke. I meant 3 weeks. Got corrected on the text line. Thank you. The last 3 weeks, not the last 2 weeks. There was a lot of panic after Bridgewater came in against the Rams and didn't play particularly well. Looked like he was a little bit slow with his reads. Didn't seem all that comfortable with what was going down. And I tried to tell everyone at that point, look, when you're a backup quarterback in the NFL, you basically don't get reps, especially if you've got a quarterback like Drew Brees who's as obsessive as he is about his preparation. You really don't get reps at that point. Now that it's Bridgewater getting all the first-team reps, he seems a lot more comfortable. Was there that type of panic? Did you feel that type of panic from people down in New Orleans that, we paid $7 million to this guy, but he's awful? Or was there a sense of, hey, let's give him some time and let's see what happens when he really is able to get in there and practice?
No, are you kidding me, Patrick? This is New Orleans and Louisiana. There is no logic involved. It's either a crisis or a carnival. There's no in-between. And the crisis after the Rams game was very real, and now it's carnival mode. And I'm actually feeling myself saying, he had a great game against the Bucs, but let's not get carried away here. It feels like it's gone completely the other way after one very encouraging game. And I think these next two games are going to be very, very difficult on the road against two very good defenses. Playing in the Superdome has been, I think, a huge boost for this team. Defensively, this team plays at another level in the Superdome. It just does. It always has. And I think there's going to be a bigger challenge now going on the road. But there definitely was that, I think, initial response to Bridgewater's struggles against the Rams. And I felt that was very unfair because he was thrust into a situation he really wasn't I don't want to say prepared for, but it's difficult to jump right in there against a quality opponent on the road. And I think every game that he's played, it's natural for him to get a little bit better, a little more comfortable. And he hadn't played a lot of football, frankly, relevant football, in 2 years. So I think it's understandable that he's improving each week.
Yeah, and again, I don't think people, that's why I kind of cautioned everyone. Remember, NFL practices are not like college. The twos aren't getting a lot of reps because the ones end up taking up all the reps, especially when you have a QB like Brees. I'm curious now. Why does it seem like everyone nationally is surprised at how good the defense has played when I thought a lot of the story going into this year was this is one of the best defenses, potentially that the Saints have had in a long time. This is a Super Bowl winning defense potentially. Why does it seem like everyone's surprised that the Saints defense is good?
Well, I think it's typical, right? You have these early season storylines, and for whatever reason, the Saints defense tends to start slowly. I mean, it did last year. We saw the opener against the Bucs where they got lit up by Ryan Fitzmaurice. I mean, if Fitzmagic lit them up. And,
right.
And now this season. They gave up a ton of big plays against the Houston Texans, and really kind of fortunate got bailed out by the offense to even win that game. If you think about it, the storyline would be a little different if the Saints would have lost those opening 2 games, and they almost did. So I think that narrative is changing, and you have to give Dennis Allen, the leaders on the defense, a lot of credit for constantly adjusting, improving. I mean, Sean Payton always says after week 1, the whole league is in a race to improve themselves and see who can make those adjustments and improve, and the Saints do a good job. And again, it goes back to this coaching staff. I just think they have an excellent staff. That defensive staff has a guy like Mike Nolan, who's been a head coach in the league. Ryan Nielsen, the defensive line coach, is one of the best young defensive line coaches in football. Aaron Glenn's an excellent secondary coach who's probably going to be a defensive coordinator in this league. This is a well-coached, smart team with a lot of talent, and I think they're showing it on Sundays now.
Speaking of defensive line, Jeff, to me, that's the position that really showed out. Now, look, Marshawn Lattimore, it's easy to point him out for the last 2 weeks, but to me, the defensive line has shown out the last couple of weeks. The ability, we especially last week against Jameis Winston, we saw Davenport making his name heard a little bit more. Cam Jordan is so steady. Rankin's getting back in and getting healthy and into shape. Brown from the Patriots that they got has just been a monster inside. Onyemata comes in and is good. That D-line is, in my opinion, Jeff, as good as anyone's got in the league.
Yeah, and it's got a lot of talent. I mean, there's 4 first-round draft picks, and Mario Edwards Jr. is the second-round draft pick. So these guys have talent. They have depth. I think that's the thing that stands out to me, Patrick, is they now can rotate 3, sometimes 4 players at end or tackle, and you really don't have a ton of drop-off at all. And when Trey Hendrickson comes back, it's even going to be deeper. They're very high on this rookie called Granderson, who got his first sack on Sunday against
and
the
did
Bucs.
The worm.
Yeah, it did the worm and got ridiculed by his teammates for it. But he's a very talented pass rush prospect and just a guy that's going to be waiting in the wings here and probably looking for his shot. But the depth there is unquestionably the best they've had. And, I don't know. I saw a really good defensive line last night in San Francisco. I think they have 5 first-round draft picks for the 49ers. But I don't think anybody's playing any better than the Saints right now up front. And that makes up for any other questions they have in the back half of this defense. It's easier to play coverage when the opposing quarterback is under duress and the clock in his head is getting sped up the way it is right now when the Saints defensive line is getting after them like they are.
Jeff Duncan from The Athletic. All right, Jeff, last question. This is the question that made my producer, Rogers Hampton, cackle a good bit yesterday. Now that it's carnival time, the chance of Teddy or raining down in the dome, is it time to trade Drew Brees?
Yeah. Let's move on from him. That's so funny. It has amazed me, Patrick, how Teddy Bridgewater was under fire for a couple of weeks. Mm-hmm. Everybody was ready to move on to Taysom Hill, and now everybody's completely enamored with him and thinks he could start for every team in the NFL, and he's the greatest thing since sliced bread. That's what makes this state so incredible. The passion for football is unrivaled, and it's off the charts. And right now I feel like I'm trying to kind of bring everybody back to center on the Bridgewater bandwagon, because I think these next 2 games are going to be a lot more difficult than they were on Sunday against the Bucs.
Absolutely. But he is a great story, and he seems to be an incredible guy. And makes it very easy to root for him. There's no doubt about it. He just seems like an incredible dude. Hey,
well, come on. He's a University of Louisville guy, so you knew he had to be a great person.
Sure, like Bobby Petrino.
A choir boy and everything.
Right.
Hey, Petrino was a coach, wasn't a player.
Well, I mean, he was at Louisville, so, come on.
Twice.
Hey, yeah, exactly. Hey, Jeff, any thoughts on LSU, Florida?
Yeah, look, I think LSU, this is going to be another one of those statement games for them. Can't wait to see Joe Burrow against that Florida defense. I have questions about Florida's offense, but there's no questioning that defense. It's a top defense in the country, and I think Joe Burrow can make a strong statement for the Heisman Trophy if he has a big game against the Florida Gators, and I think he will. I really think LSU's been laying in wait for this game after what happened a year ago. and I expect it to be a showcase game for LSU in their continued march to try and get to the college football playoff. I can't wait to be at Tiger Stadium. I'll be there this Saturday for the first big night game this season.
It's going to be a lot of fun, no doubt about it. Jeff, thank you so much for your time, man. We really do appreciate it, and we look forward to catching up down the road.
Thanks, Patrick.
All right,
Take care.
Jeff Duncan, The Athletic.